Hi, hello YouTube. My name is Tyler and I'm trying to get back into my reading vlog rhythm. It is September 1st and it's starting to get a little bit chilly here, at least at certain parts of the day. So I think that's part of the reason I'm feeling the need to get back into the vlog thing, because I am just not going to be going out and doing as much as we get into fall and winter. So anyways, it's the first. My battery's about to die. Love that for me. As I was saying, it is September 1st and I finished a book. I finished August 9 Fog by Catherine Scanlon. I really enjoyed this actually. It's a very short, tiny little book. The premise is that she found a diary like 15 years ago, and she just spent a lot of time with this diary, and she ended up taking bits and pieces of it, rearranging it a bit, and making this book. I gave it 4 stars. It's a very short read. I read it, like I sat down and read it in a sitting, in, I don't know, like 20 minutes or something like that. It's not actually poetry, but it does have like a poetic quality to it. Yesterday, sometime in the last week, I watched a video called, was it like How to Read and Enjoy Poetry or something like that, by Writing with Andrew, I think was the YouTuber's name. And it really stuck with me because he talked about how poetry isn't necessarily trying to tell a story, like it doesn't have a plot. It should be understood more as a comparison to photography, where the author is trying to capture a moment, a feeling, a experience in a way that, like, when you take a photograph, you are trying to capture a moment to remember. And so the poet is trying to capture a moment to share with the reader. And it really made something click in my head. So I'm intrigued to try and get back into poetry after listening to that. But that's what really hit me about this as well, because since it's a diary, this is just like a year in the life of this woman, and it's just capturing these little moments, and there was just something really special and lovely about it. There's some pages that I tabbed just because they kind of stuck out to me. Let's see if I can find one. Terrible windy. Everything loose is traveling. There was one. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. D frying chicken. Ice on bird bath. D and Vern's anniversary. They got each other beautiful sweaters. This grand day. My feet tingle. I don't know. There's just like something about these moments that I just really enjoyed. I'm glad I grabbed this. I had a good time reading it this afternoon. All right, I will talk to y'all later. Bye. Hi, hello. It is September 2nd, and I just realized I don't have my little... Whoa. Okay, I guess I'm holding the camera. It's September 2nd, and I just finished listening to He Who Drowned the World by Shelley Parker Chan. I'm going to give this 3 stars. This was a pretty rough listen for me. There was a lot going on in this. A lot of people. A lot of going back and forth between different narratives. And it was just a struggle. If I had had a better grasp of all the characters from book 1, it probably would not have been as much of a struggle as it was. So I spent a lot of this book kind of bored, not really having a good time, and was thinking it was probably going to be a 2, which felt unfair, because maybe I could have liked it more if I had really put the effort into like understanding who the characters were and all the connections and things. because I know people love this series. I mean, it's very highly rated on Goodreads. But when I rate stuff, it is about my personal enjoyment, my personal feelings about it. It's not supposed to be an objective review necessarily. It's not supposed to communicate something to other readers. It is for me to look back on and reflect on my feelings about a book, my experience. So I was thinking it was going to be a 2. However, I will say the last 2 or 3 chapters, when all the different storylines started to come together into one point. I don't really want to do any spoilers, but there's some going undercover that happens in those last couple chapters. And just like the ending in general, I did actually enjoy, despite not fully understanding everyone and everything. I did enjoy the end, which is surprising because I spent so much time like just struggling, being on the struggle bus. So the fact that like the end could pull it together for me up a full star is really surprising, and I think a what is the word I'm looking for? Like a sign of a good writer. There was also one other scene, maybe somewhere in the middle, a certain character dies. That also I really enjoyed. So the fact that Shelley Parker Chan could still have these moments of just really, not necessarily emotional, although, you know, somewhat emotional, could have these moments that still hit me, even though I did not understand what was going on in most of these books. I think is a sign of a good writer. I will also say there was a lot more sex in this one, and ooh, it made me uncomfortable. There was like consorts and doing sex for power and pregnancy and stuff like that, and I did not enjoy that. There was definitely one like very descriptive scene that made me very uncomfortable, and not necessarily the context of the sex, although there was definitely like sexual violence in this. It's not that, it's just like I do not enjoy sex in books, and hearing it being read to me made it even more uncomfortable. And I'm not saying sex in books is bad. It is a personal preference. For me personally, I do not enjoy reading that. So there was a lot of that in this, which also contributed to my struggle with this. I mean, it's not like constant, but it definitely like played a role in the plot. It was important, but it was difficult for me. So anyways, it's 3. I'm gonna give it a 3. All right, goodbye. Hi, hello YouTube. It is September 3rd. Yes, September 3rd, and I just finished listening to A Prayer for the Crown Shy by Becky Chambers. This is the second and final Monk and Robot book. I read the first one, A Psalm for Wildbuilt, last month, I think, and the audiobook was ready to listen to today. Well, actually, yesterday, but I listened to the entire thing today. 5 stars. Love this one. I definitely liked it more than the first one, which I really liked too, but I loved this one because I love Moscap. I love Moscap. This definitely seemed to be a final book, but honestly, I could listen to this narrator read these characters for like a billion books. It's just so cozy and warm. These are like solar punk novellas, which is kind of like an alternative to cyberpunk, I think. Like dystopian sci-fi, dark, gritty, imagining shitty futures. And I really felt that in this one. There was just a lot of learning about this world, the things they gave up after the robots left, but how they made a better world and how people are still loved and cared for and there's no money, and it's just like imagining this different future. And it had me thinking about I just completely lost the title of the book. The Beginning of Everything? No, The Dawn of Everything, that's it. The Dawn of Everything, and how it really opened my eyes to imagining different futures, because the past, our past as humanity, as societies, is not as rigid and set in stone as it has been taught to us. There have been tons and tons of different types of societies set up in tons of different ways, and we don't have to live like this, and we can create better societies for all people, for the planet, for humanity, for animals. And this was just like imagining a future like that, and it just was really wholesome and lovely. I want more books, but I don't think there are actually more books in the works. Yeah, 5 stars. Had a good time. I recommend the series. Bye. Hello, YouTube. It is September 5th, and I have DNF'd a book. I'm also walking on my walking pad right now, so you'll have to excuse the background noise, but I gotta get my steps in. Anyways, I DNF'd a book. I DNF'd the, what is it? The Selected Works of T.S. Spivet by Rafe Larson. It's really funny because I've bought this book twice. Bought it once like a decade ago, and I never read it and ended up donating it, I think, before we moved to Colorado. And then when I moved back to Virginia, I ended up buying it again. I can't even remember where I bought it. Sometime in like the last year or so. So as you flip through here, you can see there's like footnotes and like diagrams and things of that nature, which if you have been here for a while, you will know that is kind of like my bread and butter. I love mixed media, I love footnotes, I love a somewhat complex reading experience. Anyways, so I bought it again and I was like, I'm gonna read this. So I started it sometime in the last week, and at first it started out really good. It was giving me kind of more grown-up, a series of unfortunate events vibes, plus footnotes, which I just enjoy in general. T.S. is a 12-year-old cartographer, and he's very precocious, I guess you could say. He's very intelligent. And so it was giving me like child genius vibes, which definitely can be a fun read for me. You know, a series of unfortunate events follows young children, and they have their own specialties. So Violet is an inventor, and Klaus is a big reader, researcher type, and Sunny eventually becomes like a cook, a chef. She likes food. So that's what it was giving me at first, you know. He really enjoyed his cartography. He's very smart. But as it goes on, it just got really grating to read. He's very annoying. I don't even know if I would call like most of the stuff he's drawing to be cartography. It's like diagrams. Like I would not call like a diagram of shucking corn a map. That's not a map. And his mother also pretty irritating. And so then I read the back of it, and it's like a road trip from their house in Montana to Washington, D.C., I believe. And it's just like supposed to be like learning about their family and TS. And like if the main character is annoying, his mother is annoying. We haven't really seen a lot from his father or his sister yet. But like, if I'm gonna be spending so much time with these characters, I don't think I'm gonna have a good time, because it's just irritating. They're irritating. And then also they live in Montana, and there's just like this long exposition part about like his father's obsession with the Wild West, and there's just this stuff that's thrown in that feels vaguely romanticizing, like the Wild West and like cowboys and Indians. Not quite in that way, but like there's just these little bits and pieces that just kind of rub me the wrong way, especially as I learn more about like indigenous history, indigenous cultures in the Americas, that like I just don't like spending time consuming media that glorifies that. Like I've never been much of a Western reader anyways, like that time period just kind of bores me in general. But I don't think that would have bothered me as much, like this, like my father likes the Wild West and he likes these characters and yada yada yada. I don't think that would have bothered me as much, you know, years and years ago, where I just did not have as much knowledge or understanding about the American colonial project in the West. So yeah, I just don't want to spend any more time on this. I have bought this book twice. I'm not gonna buy it again. I've learned my lesson. So anyways, that's a very long-winded clip about why I'm DNFing this book. Yeah, all right, I will see y'all later. Bye. Hiya, it is September 8th and I am just here to close out the vlog. I don't know what I was normally doing to close out these vlogs, because you just watched it, so why would I talk about the books all over again? I read 3 books and they were all pretty decent. I DNF'd a book and I am currently reading 5 books. I'm not going to go into detail about them because hopefully I will review them in the next week or two, but I thought I would just briefly touch on those books that I am currently reading. So I am reading The United States of Paranoia, A Conspiracy Theory by Jessie Walker. I've been reading this for I think about a month. I'm almost done. I have like 2 chapters left, so I'll probably finish that next week. It's just about like the history of conspiratorial thinking in the United States. I am reading The Sarah book by Scott McClanahan. I started this yesterday. I'm actually really enjoying it. I read about 31 pages yesterday. It's very conversational in tone. The topics are heavy. So far it's talking a lot about drinking, but not necessarily dark yet, which I don't know what it is about the cover. It just makes me think it's going to get dark. I don't know if it's actually going to get dark or not, but I am enjoying it. Very easy to read, enjoyable. Those are the only physical books I'm reading. I'm currently listening to What My Bones Know by Stephanie Fu, I think is what it's called, and who wrote it. I'm currently listening to that. I will probably finish that Saturday. It is a memoir. It's about trauma. Really enjoying it. And then I am reading A History of Fear by an author I absolutely cannot remember. Luke Dumas, I think. History of Fear, really liking this. It ended up becoming an accidental buddy read, so it's taking longer. I probably would have finished it this week if I had not invited my friend to read it with me. But I just really enjoyed the first 6 chapters, and she was already considering reading it. She was interested. And so when she picked it up and she was immediately hooked, we decided to buddy read it. So yeah, it's taking longer than I had anticipated, but I'm really enjoying it. It's really fitting the like going into fall spooky season. It's really setting the mood. I'm really enjoying it. And I feel like I'm reading I'm reading a Yawamushi pedal book, which I guess is also a physical book, but it's downstairs. I don't read it upstairs. I only read it when I take my walks on my walking pad. So yeah, most of those books, if not all of them, I should finish next week and will be in the next vlog. Otherwise, I'll see y'all later. Bye!